Marcus Chen had lost everything worth losing in the span of 18 months. First came the accident that shattered his spine in 3 places, then the experimental surgery that left him with more nerve damage than relief. Finally, Sarah, his wife of 12 years, who couldn't handle watching him dissolve into someone. She no longer recognized the settlement money from the corporation responsible for his injuries sat heavy in his account. Blood money that bought him nothing but the means to run. When he saw the listing for an abandoned homestead on Kepler 442b, a frontier world 3 jumps from Earth, he didn't hesitate. The price was laughable. The description was sparse. Former Zentari dwelling isolated location, sold as is, perfect. The transport shuttle dropped him at the coordinates with his few belongings and a promise to return in 6 months. Marcus watched it disappear into the copper-colored sky, leaving him alone with the constant companion of his pain and a structure that looked like it had been grown rather than built. The shack was actually a biomechanical construct, typical of Zentari architecture. Its walls possessed an organic quality, ridged and textured like bark, but with the subtle sheen of something deliberately engineered. 2 stories tall, it sprawled across the red soil like a sleeping creature. The windows, if they could be called that, were translucent membranes that seemed to breathe with the wind. Marcus approached slowly, his exoskeleton whirring softly with each step. The medical frame kept him upright, but it couldn't silence the lightning that periodically shot through his nervous system. He'd learned to breathe through it, to let the waves crash without drowning. The entrance dilated as he neared, recognizing mammalian heat signatures, Standard Zentari Biometric Protocol. He stepped inside. The interior was dim, illuminated only by bioluminescent strips that pulsed gently along the ceiling. The air smelled wrong, not stale exactly, but layered with something musky and sharp. Marcus's hand instinctively went to the plasma pistol at his hip. "I wouldn't do that, human." The voice came from the shadows to his left, low and resonant with harmonics that suggested an alien larynx. Marcus froze, his eyes adjusting to the darkness. What emerged from the gloom made his breath catch. She was massive, easily 7 feet tall, with scales that shifted between deep emerald and midnight blue depending on how the light caught them. Her face was distinctly draconic. Elongated snout, ridge of horns sweeping back from her brow, eyes that glowed with an inner amber fire. But her body, while clearly reptilian, possessed a humanoid configuration. She wore simple wrappings around her torso and legs and in her arms. Marcus blinked hard, certain the pain medication was causing hallucinations. In her powerful arms, she cradled 2 infants. Not human babies, but not entirely alien either. Their skin was softer than their mother's scales, almost human in texture but with a faint iridescent quality. Tiny nubs protruded from their foreheads, horns just beginning to develop. They mewled softly, making sounds that tugged at something primal in Marcus's chest. "This dwelling is occupied," the dragon woman said, shifting her weight to better support the twins. "You need to leave." Marcus's hand dropped from his weapon. "I bought this place legally, I have the deed." "Then you were cheated." She moved closer, and Marcus could see exhaustion etched into every line of her body. Her scales were dull in places, and one of her eyes had a slight cloudiness to it. "The Zentari who lived here promised me sanctuary before they abandoned this world. I've been here for 4 months. Sanctuary from what?" Her eyes narrowed. "That's not your concern, human." One of the babies began to cry, a thin wail that seemed to pierce Marcus's pain-fogged mind with crystal clarity. The dragon woman immediately began to rock gently, making soft clicking sounds with her tongue. The technique was remarkably similar to what Marcus had seen Sarah do with their nephew years ago, before everything fell apart. "How long since you've slept?" Marcus found himself asking. The question seemed to catch her off guard. "What? You look like hell. When's the last time you actually slept?" He gestured at the infants. "How old are they?" 6 weeks. The admission came reluctantly. "And I sleep when they sleep. So never." Marcus had spent enough time around new parents to recognize the signs. The tremor in her hands wasn't from weakness, but from the bone-deep exhaustion of constant vigilance. "You're running on fumes. I can manage it." "Yeah, I can see that." Marcus dropped his pack by the door with a heavy thud. His exoskeleton groaned as he eased himself down to sit on the floor, his back against the wall. The relief of sitting warred with the new angles of pain it created. Look, I paid good money for this place. I'm not leaving, but it's big enough for all of us. And if you haven't noticed, I'm not exactly a threat. The dragon woman studied him for a long moment, those amber eyes seeming to catalog every weakness, every broken piece. Marcus let her look. He had nothing to hide, nothing to prove. "You're in pain," she finally said. It wasn't a question. Every second of every day. The admission came easier than it should have. Maybe it was the isolation, or maybe it was the simple fact that she was alien enough that her judgment didn't matter. "That's why I came here, to get away from people who want to fix me or pity me or tell me it's all in my head." One of the twins made a cooing sound, and the dragon woman's expression softened imperceptibly. "What's your name, human?" "Marcus. Marcus Chen. I am Sirith of the Ember Peaks clan." She paused as if weighing her next words carefully. "These are my daughters, Kira and Ven. Their father died defending them from those who would see them killed for being impure." The weight of that statement settled between them. Marcus understood sanctuary now. Understood running. "There's a medical bay in the back," he said quietly. At least the listing mentioned one. Zentari tech is supposed to be compatible with most carbon-based life forms. Maybe we can jury-rig something for the babies. Incubator or something. Sirith's eyes widened slightly. "You would help us?" "I came here to be alone with my misery," Marcus said, pushing himself back to his feet with a grimace. "But I'm not enough of a bastard to watch babies suffer. Besides," he managed a tired smile, "misery loves company, right?" For the first time, something that might have been hope flickered across Sirith's face. "The medical bay is through there," she said, gesturing with her snout toward a doorway that pulsed with soft blue light. "But the Zentari systems are locked. I couldn't access them." "Lucky for you," Marcus said, already moving toward the doorway. "I used to be an engineer before I became a professional pain patient. Let's see what we can do." As he passed her, one of the twins reached out with a tiny hand, fingers spreading wide. On instinct, Marcus extended his index finger. The baby grasped it with surprising strength, and for just a moment, the constant background noise of his pain seemed to fade into something manageable. Behind him, Sirith made a sound that might have been a laugh or might have been a sob. "Thank you, Marcus Chen." "Don't thank me yet," he replied, but there was something lighter in his voice. "I haven't even made coffee yet, and I'm terrible before coffee." "What's coffee?" Marcus paused in the doorway and looked back at the dragon woman holding her.